Hello, you beautiful people. So, right after I posted the video talking about the future Nova Flares, it seems like AHA planned a special surprise for us with sparxie's drip marketing as we received more information on pretty much everything related to the future content right around the same time as her reveal, which is a couple days onwards from my original video. So, well, here we go again, talking about the future Nova Flares, or in simpler words, direct character buffs. As compared to the last time, this time we have some concrete information, but to be expected of leaks nowadays. It's still not that much to talk about as we never really get proper info anymore, and that's why I wanted to make a shorter video covering both of these future Nova Flares, discussing what they might do and the separate batches in the future that we might end up seeing. There's not much to really yap about, so let's begin without wasting any more of your time or energy. So, as I said in the intro, we got some news related to who exactly will be receiving Nova Flares, and I was really surprised to see that the characters weren't from version 1 and instead were Black Swan and Sparkle's current, or you can say old form. At this point, I'm sure everyone watching this is equally as surprised as me, because these characters literally went totally under the radar, and even the source who posted this info seemed pretty shocked about both these characters specifically being buffed, which was honestly kind of funny. Overall though, these buffs are pretty welcomed in my opinion, even if it's not the characters that we expected, and I still think both of these characters deserved a buff anyway, but I'll get into that a bit later. For now, let me just clarify some important things about these Nova Flares. So, these Nova Flares, or direct character buffs, are likely going to be released in version 4.0 along with the new planet's release, unless something goes wrong, of course. Right now, Sparkle and Black Swan are currently the only characters that we know about who will be in this Nova Flare batch, but there are several others in testing, and the other Nova Flares are likely going to be here much sooner than you think. Finally, as usual, I wanted to mention that this information is subject to change, but it comes from a pretty reliable source, so take that as you will. Alright, first of all, I think it's fairly easy to understand the aim for Sparkle's Nova Flare, and I'm sure some of you have already figured it out. Basically, they want you to pair her up with her new variant, which is Sparxie, and they will likely tune her kit to fulfill literally all of Sparxie's needs. From what we know as of now, Sparxie is a skill point consuming main DPS hypercarry unit that likely will do a lot better with the more action she has. Here, because of this, I expect Sparkle's Nova Flare to buff her 50% action advance, make her skill point generation better and more consistent, and all the other general stuff like buffing her supporting power and fixing that very outdated quantum trace that basically nobody but Archer uses anymore. All in all, it would be kind of weird if Sparxie's best support was a character who buffed an element that has no relation to her, right? I honestly think Sparkle has a lot of potential as a character and could definitely end up being a top support again after these buffs. Next up, Black Swan's case is pretty much the same as Sparkle. Yep, I feel like they just want to make her the best option for the DOT team again, and they likely want her to be even better than Cyrene. Personally, I feel like this is a lot easier said than done though, because Black Swan's kit really needs a lot of work, so I'm expecting her buff to be way bigger than Sparkle's. Firstly, they really need to let her stack her own DOT better as it's really slow without hyacinths, and even when it's stacked fully, it does negative damage. Along with this, I expect them to give her DOT detonations, powerful team-wide buffs like Kafka, and making her personal damage competitive or even better than hyacinths. Also, I know nobody uses this team anymore, but maybe the Acheron buff was just Chiron all along, as it looks like that team might just be a viable team again. Anyways, with that, I've covered all the info that we got today on the two characters that are receiving a direct buff in version 4.0. Actually, speaking about Acheron, I did mention in the video that this set of Nova Flares isn't going to be the only one, and there will likely be more in the future. Now, considering that they seem to have abandoned the version 1 characters for Nova Flares, which really sucks by the way, but whatever. I feel like the next set will probably feature some of the characters I talked about in the last video like Firefly and Acheron, so stay tuned for any future information and don't give up on your main being buffed as you never really know nowadays. Also, if you ended up watching until the end, you might want to consider subscribing as well. With that being said, I just want to say I love y'all and I will see you in another one.